Hello, guys, and welcome back to Sports Kabri. I have Rishi with me today, and today we're going to talk about the Club World Cup. So, firstly, we all know it's a huge controversy in terms of how big this whole Club World Cup was going into the tournament. But for me personally, I think there has been a bit of success in terms of a bit of major upsets. You had a so-called European giant with Madrid being knocked out of the competition, and this shows, as we spoke before, like even a big club can get knocked out by the so-called non-European clubs and make it through the knockout stages. And speaking of knockout stages, I think this is a time where all the group stages have been done. It's the knockout stages. We have, I think we have seven non-Asian teams in the round of 16, and the rest nine are from Europe. So it shows that it's not a huge difference where you have it fully dominated by Europe. You have the non-Asian teams coming, playing these knockout games, and the point is, it's a knockout stage. Like, you can have upsets going into any of these games. You can have favorites, but it doesn't mean they're going to go through, because it's just a one-off game and you never know how it goes. And I think that's what we're here to discuss today, just a bit of how the Club World Cup has gone, and do we really think the European teams will dominate, the upcoming round of 16? Because we've had upsets. We've had teams like Chelsea lose. We had teams like Real Madrid not beat Al Hilal. They drew that game 1-1. And when I watched that game, Al Hilal were top of Real Madrid. I don't think Real Madrid were at their best that day. And you had Atletico Madrid being eliminated. We did see PSG losing. So I think there are stories where if a team from Europe can lose once, they can lose again, and now losing in the knockout stages, that means you're out of the tournament. So we don't know what can happen. I think that's what we are here to discuss today. And Rishi, straight off, bro, how do you think this tournament has gone through in terms of results? Like, in terms of a big European team getting eliminated, some of the big teams have been gotten upset. Like, me watching Flamengo versus Chelsea, Chelsea were dominated that game, the entire
Hmm.
game, and they won comfortably 3-1. So it shows that Club World Cup has some credibility in terms of having upsets. And I think, do you think we'll see that going through the round of 16? How do you think about this?
Bro, one thing I know for sure is like maybe at the start of the tournament or like early on, we would have speculated or we would have guessed that okay, since the calendar has been very busy, since the players have all complained, like maybe the teams would kind of treat it off as if not entirely like a preseason friendly, but they would still go light. Like you would see a lot of changes. But as much as I'm or like as I keep watching the games or like I keep looking at the lineups, like they are going full throttle. Like you don't see any
Yeah.
European team treat it as like a preseason friendly or a tournament that they are not preferring. They are fielding their absolute strongest teams. Like
Bro,
unless
for them it's the money, right? So I think they'd have no
exactly,
choice. Yeah.
exactly. Like I mean, I would have thought maybe at least a couple of clubs would have rotated some of the players to look after them because they'd want to be fresh. Like they'd want the players to be fresh for the start of the season and things like that. But clearly, that's not the case. Like maybe we're going to have repercussions later in the season, but at least for now, all teams are going absolutely at it. So you know that there is no excuse for these teams saying that okay, we were pretty much playing our reserve teams or like our youth teams or etc etc. Like they are going full throttle for it, so there's nowhere to hide. Like teams like Real Madrid, like you said, they couldn't get past Al Hilal. PSG losing, and Juventus were not convincing, if I'm not wrong. And I think Dortmund also struggled against was it Mamelodi Sundowns, if I'm not wrong.
Sundowners. Yeah, you're right.
So like the Asian and African teams are actually putting up very good performances for like
Yep.
too much to their credit. So I'm very much looking forward to the round of 16s because like with the kind of performances that these big European clubs have portrayed, I wouldn't be surprised if if there are a couple of upsets if the some of these big clubs do find themselves out. Like for example, like Chelsea haven't been very convincing. Bayern Munich have just scraped through their group as well. I don't think Bayern finished top of the table also. Benfica finished on top of the table. And they play Chelsea. So
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to these round of 16 games because, like you said, these are one-off games. There are no two legs, so it is going to
Mhm.
be entirely chaotic. Now, chaotic games, these favorites are like these supposed big clubs are not playing up to the mark, and postseason, like fatigue is setting in on the players, so that you just know how chaotic it's gonna be. It's gonna be fun from a fan perspective, from a neutral perspective, because like at least the neither of us don't have any vested interest in any of the teams. So for us, it's a pure entertainment purpose, and from that point of view, I think it's gonna be very, very entertaining.
True, bro. Like same. Like I think, bro, for me, what shocked is the Brazilian teams, in generally South American teams, but the Brazilian teams, the quality they've shown this entire tournament, I
Mm.
think it's been massive. If I'm not wrong, I think they were going coming to the last group stage match week. I think they were unbeaten in the entire tournament. Guys like Flamengo,
Flamengo
Fluminense,
and Fluminense.
Palmeiras, they're all unbeaten. Like I think that
Mm.
last match week is where they lost. They had their first loss in terms of like your Brazilian clubs. And as we
Palmeiras
said,
also they drew to Miami. They didn't lose. They didn't lose, I think.
no, but I'm talking about like the Brazilian clubs overall. They had like an unbeaten streak till the last match
Right.
week. I think Botafogo lost last game, and I think even
Yeah, yeah,
Fluminense
yeah.
they lost
Botafogo
last game,
lost.
if I'm not wrong.
Mm.
So yeah, but that's the point. Like, bro, these guys were good. Like Flamengo look really good, bro. Like e- even that goal Chelsea scored was, let's say, in an individual mistake. But apart from that, like Flamengo looked very solid. The Brazilian teams can. That's my point. Going into like a group stage, the Brazilian teams can cause an upset if a European team is facing them. That's my point. I feel like if you're a European team and playing some team like Flamengo, you can't take them for granted. Like they have a bit of European players, like Jorginho's joined them now. I know that, and they have the quality. Even with the manager, I think he's playing brave football. Like and overall, more than this, I think the physical attributes and capabilities, it's crazy good. Like they can make a
Mm.
rough game out of it. Even when Botafogo played PSG, it was the physicality that overwhelmed PSG. Like PSG were not able to, adapt and break in through that physical, aggressiveness. Like they were really not able to break through them because of that reason. And the same thing with even with Flamengo. It's the same thing. I think teams like Fluminense is a bit more stylistic. They play a bit more position based football. I know that, but yeah, I think teams like Botafogo, a team even to an extent maybe Palmeiras, they have a bit of quality players. We can say team Flamengo can cause huge trouble, and I think that's what we'll have to talk about. Like going into the group stages, we know who other teams played well. Whatever we qualified. Now again, bro, like okay, now it's the knockout stages. Like it's just a one-off game, and we have the ties here. So let's just start off with PSG into Miami, bro. I think that's a big topic because Messi going back to his so-called old club where he left for Inter Miami,
Mm.
one and a half years ago. Now he's going to face them in the Club World Cup, like European champions. Messi would have been a five-time European champion if he just stayed for another 1.5 years. But now he's going to face them again in the Club World Cup. Do you think if Inter Miami beats PSG and if Messi plays or has a good game, do you think he deserves the Ballon d'Or?
Oh, if
No, I'm just
Inter,
kidding. Huh?
I mean,
Do you
see,
think he
in I
deserves the
like,
Ballon
bro, Inter Miami as a whole have not been very like convincing. Like they've won one,
d'Or?
the two they scraped through in the other two games as well. The first one was the against the Egyptian team was a
Al
very dull
Hilal
affair.
or something, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong.
and the third game they played Palmeiras, if I'm not wrong.
But they beat Benfica, if
They
I'm not
beat
wrong.
not Benfica,
They,
they beat
they beat
uh,
Benfica. No, Porto, sorry. They beat Porto
Porto,
2.
Porto. Yes, they
Yeah.
beat Porto and
We were
drew to
beating
Palmeiras.
Porto with being an MLS. They're the only MLS team that qualified, by the way. Like LAFC were not able to qualify through to
Yeah, true.
the stages. And
But
I think even Seattle Sounders, I think they also were not able to qualify.
Seattle Sounders also lost to PSG, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So to be fair,
Mm,
like they're the only MLS team. We were doubting the credibility into coming to the Club World Cup, but they did make it through. They're
that's true.
playing
They have made
PSG.
it through. Like fair
So
play to them, but
what do you think? Do you think
yeah,
they have the abilities to beat? Let's be real. PSG
uh,
did lose though. Like PSG can lose. They showed they could lose because they lost to
that's true.
Botafogo.
They lost to Botafogo, but I don't know. I just feel this PSG team is just two,
Mm.
like one notch above when it comes to fitness and quality, bro. Like the overall, yeah, the overall quality, I'm just far too convinced when it comes to
Yeah.
PSG. Like this is as good as a PSG team has ever looked. Like of course, this tournament, like after a treble winning season, you can give them some leeway. But I still think once the knockout stage of this tournament is starting, they're gonna go all guns blazing for this
Yeah.
as well. So I wouldn't give much chance to Inter Miami. But again, if Messi, bro, see, this is one thing I've maintained, that like even now, even to this day,
You
like
can't
I
hide.
feel he's the person who can, like, offer the most threat for a team. Like I think that, like, the most impact somebody can create for a team ultimately gets like my vote as the best player in the world. So to this day, you could see, like, even the he single-handedly won the game against Porto. So at
Yeah.
this age, he's what, 38 now, like winning games against European quality, coming clutch in and Argent still playing, still balling for Argentina. So right now, also, I would say, of course, the maybe his legs have started to give up a little bit. You know that, like, he's not somebody who can run the entire 90 minutes. But I still feel once he receives the ball, he still has as much impact as anybody else in world football, bro. But that
Yeah.
being said, the narrative that has been set around the players who play in the European leagues, I don't think Messi would stand a chance against the narrative. But I still maintain that as long as he has been playing for even in the recent past, he's still the best player out there.
True. So who do you think would win this game if it comes down to
So I think
what
PSG
comes to
wins
an
this game, bro. It's just too much
PSG?
quality and too much, like, I think the physicality. Or I think they're just a fitter team, bro.
Yeah, I think, bro. Yeah, bro. Like overall, they have the quality. You can't deny their attacks much better, even though they
Yeah.
have Messi. And to be fair, their attack, they're gonna. I think they're gonna miss Dembele. I don't think he's playing. Like I think he has an
Hmm.
injury. But apart from that, like regardless of their attack, I think they're. When I call attack, I think you have to include the fullbacks because they're very much involved in their
Yeah.
attacking phases, and that's why it makes them so dangerous. And the other thing is that, bro, I don't think Miami have a good defense. Like you can have Messi, I get it, I agree, but Messi is going to do only as much as he can do. But you have to have a solid defense while you're defending, and I don't think they have that. And I think that's the only issue.
Hmm.
But you never know. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like I don't want to write away or write against Messi, saying okay, PSG can win this. But I have to look at their defense. I think if 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 they can do a defensive masterclass kind of game, which I don't think they will do, but if they can do, and then you have guys like Suarez, Messi, they can still be dangerous still today, bro, because they have the quality. And PSG's defense also is there for the taking. It's not like they're solid overall. So you never know, but that's the thing. Like I feel like if it matters on the day, the way each manager set them up. Because I still feel like PSG without Dembele, their attack looks very bleak. Like I just believe if Dembele, I take him out right now, and if you put them in the Champions League, they're not winning the Champions League. I'm sure of that, for
Hmm.
example. So yeah, let's see. Let's see if I don't know if Dembele is playing. I'm really not aware of his injury status right now, but
He hasn't featured so far. I don't think
he
he's been
hasn't
playing.
featured so far. So that's the point. I don't think he's going to play, but you
Hmm.
never know. Like he might be
And
available,
day
but
after tomorrow game that too. So I don't. I
yeah,
don't think any
yeah,
positive news has come out.
yeah, bro, same. But yeah, bro, I don't know, bro. I feel like PSG. If we have to choose a favorite, I would pick PSG, but
Hmm.
just you never know, bro. These scripts, you may never know who writes them. But anyways, bro, same way going to the next game. If PSG or Inter Miami win, they will be facing Flamengo and Bayern. I think this is an interesting matchup, me personally, because Flamengo, me personally, outside the European teams, they have been very impressive. I think they have a great young manager with Felipe Luis. I think they play with such good structure, with such venom in the counter attack, and they're very confident as a team. It's not like they feel out of they feel out of their own environment. They know they can compete against the European teams and even beat them because they beat Chelsea, and they're playing Bayern, who to be fair lost to against Benfica. Like it's not like
Haven't looked great, like, in
yeah,
any of
bro.
these games.
Same. Like I think even Bayern against Boca Juniors, if I'm not wrong, they played. they were drawing 1-1, and then
Yeah.
they won in the last minute. I think Muller scored, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, that's the thing.
I mean,
Bayern,
put up some badminton score in the first game, but I
bro, yeah,
mean,
but,
it's not some.
apart from that, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think though. Respectfully, I don't think even Auckland FC would have thought they could score a goal. And bro, that's the thing. Do you think Flamengo can beat them? Because I personally, I'm not saying they can. I mean, they will beat them, but out of all the ties, if I'm talking about a non-European team facing a European team, this has the best chance where we can see an upset. Like no ways, no matter in what ways, you can't say Flamengo beating Bayern Munich is a huge upset. It is regardless what is happening right now, it is going to be a huge upset. And I think Flamengo, me personally, they have the best chance to get something out of this, like out of all
Mm,
the other non-European teams. I personally think they can beat them, even though I think Bayern are a good team. I think defensively they're very flawed, and I feel like Bayern have a similar problem with Chelsea where they have a bit of players here, they're scrambled up. They don't really play their
mm.
best position, but they're just playing out there, and their defense is very weak. I think that's what Bayern is. And if Flamengo can play the way they played against Chelsea, I believe Flamengo can beat them. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think Bayern are gonna get it through, or like do you think Flamengo can get a result here?
Bro, I think the same like what I had mentioned, earlier. Like Bayern has been a team that is featured like pretty much their like first 11. I think against Benfica, all Neuer, Guerrero, Upamecano,
Yeah,
Sasha
yeah.
Boy,
They,
Pavlovic.
bro, they played a
So
strong team, bro. This entire
yeah,
like
like
Kane has
Gnabry,
played. It's
Thomas
not like
Muller.
they, yeah, bro. They played the proper
Like
team. It's not like
yeah,
they played
so
second
when you
fiddle.
like they featured all these dons, and like let alone like okay, like you play well, you pretty much can end up losing a game, but like these guys had a lot of possession, but like they couldn't really convert. Like Benfica, like they scored, they got into a shape, they scored an early goal, they got into a bubble, they were solid, played a proper low block. Then Bayern never looked that threatening. So I mean, I really wouldn't be surprised if these guys, if Bayern are not able to get past. And of course, the media outlets are going to call it a big upset when like somebody of Flamengo size, like Flamengo's stature, respectfully, like ends up beating Bayern Munich. But if you're seeing from a purely football perspective, what has been happening in this tournament so far, I wouldn't call it a very big upset because the signs have been there about Flamengo. Like, of course, it was a 10-man Chelsea team, but bro, they were all over Chelsea even before the red card. Like, they
Bro,
were
they were winning 3-1 before the red card.
yeah, like they were like it was men versus schoolboys kind of performance. Like,
Yeah,
so I really wouldn't be surprised if
yeah,
Flamengo like end up winning this time.
yeah. I agree. I think Flamengo have a good chance. And see, Bayern, I feel like are a streaky team. They can win. You don't know what Bayern shows up, but if just through the patterns of what's happened, if that's what happens, I think Flamengo can win. But anyways, bro, one more for me an interesting matchup. Even though I think people would look at it as a easy win for Man City, they're going to face Al Hilal, and
Mm,
even Al Hilal, bro, like they've gotten a new manager in. It's not like they have Izagi now, and they have a lot of European players. You look at their team, I think 80% are European players. They have
players,
like
yeah,
eight European players, and you have two, three players from here. I think Saudi, if I'm not wrong, but
yeah,
they have like a solid. It is almost like you can say it's a European team that's coming and playing, representing an Asian team, and they're going to go face against City. Do you think there is any chance for them to also have an upset here? Like City's been pretty solid this entire 3 games they played. I did watch them play yesterday against Juventus. That's the first time I could catch City, and bro, like the way they played against Juventus, they looked pretty good. Mind you,
mm,
I really think Juventus was just horrible. Respectfully, like they just didn't come to show up. Like none of the players were showing up. Their entire game plan was horrible, and yeah, bro. Like for me, I think City's defense is the weak point. Like it's still a huge weak point. Like even a struggling Juventus could score 2 goals yesterday. It's not like they were just flawless. But yeah, Halilal, from what I watched against Real Madrid, they're also a solid team for me. I think
Mm.
they have the flexibility of playing compact football and also in the same time play a bit of fluid, direct football. Like that's how Inzaghi likes his team to play. Like we've seen him with Inter Milan, and you could see the shades of that with Al Hilal. Even though it's early days, I still think I'm not going to say it is there is a huge or a decent chance, but there is a small chance where Halila can play to an extent. Like my point is, it's going to be tough for City to break them. Like it's not going to be easy game. It's not going to be a game where like you can find City winning it 1-0, 2-0 with no real complaints in terms of results. I think it can get dicey. I think Halilal can give a good fight. And I feel like it's an interesting match, bro. I really don't know what can happen in this game. Like, I really think it can just be a 50-50 in terms of results. Like, even though City have the upper hand for sure, they have the quality, they have the squad, etc. When I look at City, really, like, I think Haaland's not been that great. I think
Mm.
it's there to get them. And if a team like Al Hilal, they have good European players. That's the point. If they stick to a decent, good play game plan and actually execute it, they can cause troubles to a team like City. So that's what I think. What do you think? Like, do you think Al Hilal can cause this that upset we've been looking for, or do you
Bro,
think City?
so like you had mentioned, Al Hilal, even like of course they have all the big players, Yasin Bono, Koulibaly, Cancelo, Ronaldo, all these guys are the big European hotshots, and even their Saudi player, I think Al Dasari is Saudi's
Bro, he's
best
a
player.
pretty good player.
Yeah, he's
I feel
like
like he's a European caliber player. Like if it
exactly.
comes.
He's like hands down. They've been talking about him for a while. Like I think he had
Bro, he
a
had a
very good
decent game
World
against
Cup.
Real Madrid. Yeah, he had a
Yeah,
very good game against Real Madrid. So yeah.
and so I wouldn't, of course, I wouldn't put like put Man City as like okay they're gonna comfortably win. It's gonna be a clear cut no cruise control game, but of course they're gonna provide some sort of a threat because like you said you can say they're pretty much in their honeymoon phase of Inzaghi as well. They've only just gotten him, and
Yeah.
if anything, yeah, like Inzaghi couldn't get the job done against UCL, he will also have a point to prove. And what better way to do than like go and smash the like not even though not the recent Premier League winner, but you
Get
can say the
revenge, bro. Get revenge for
like
2022.
yeah, and like pretty much the most successful European or like English team in a while now. So I
Mm,
wouldn't be surprised if Al Hilal did that. But at the same time, bro, City have just had a shot in the arm when it comes to having these new players and like everyone seems to be fit, everyone is featuring. Of course, Haaland's form, but bro, like we all say this, Haaland's form is concerning, and then the season starts, he starts banging in goals right away. So I don't
mhm.
think this is going to be any different from that. If I just feel like this is one of those games where Al Hilal will have to be very clinical because City,
Yeah.
you know what is coming if they set their tempo, if they get about their game, it's not gonna look very pretty for them.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's true. I think more than clinical, also they need to be. But that's the problem. I think City are the overwhelming favorites for this,
Yeah.
like in general. But that's a problem. I think like there is some potential. I'm banking on the case that Al Hilal has some hidden potential which we've not seen. Like it's more of that.
Mm,
I think like they're a weird team, bro. I think like this Saudi teams, what I've seen generally when they play friendlies with European teams, I'm not going to sit there and say they dominate the stats, they dominate, anything, but they somehow get the result done. Like you can
mm,
see them getting the result. Like that's the point. Like even against Real Madrid, I feel like they played well, but Real Madrid could also been 3-0 up in that same game, if I have to be honest.
mm,
Al Hilal could have been 2-0 up in the same game, if I have to be honest. That's how it is. Like, it's weirdly like that. So, if somehow, like, things turn their way, I think they can do something, bro. But we'll have to see. And, bro, last game, bro, I think this is more like a UCL tie. We have, like, Real Madrid playing Juventus. I think it's the most UCL-esque tie you can find in the Club World Cup for now, at least, coming into the round of 16. We have
mm,
two big teams playing each other. Okay, like yeah, we know Juventus haven't been the same off late. They haven't had the same, aura in terms of in the Italian league in the UCL. they have become a bit of a so-called sleeping giant, we can say. But it's
Mm,
still Juventus. Like you would rather watch a Real Madrid Juventus than, let's say, another team, another non-European team playing. And I think it's a huge game. Like going into again, uh, the round of 16, and the way Juventus played yesterday, I think they have a point to prove. They have a young team. I think they can win? Unfortunately, I just don't know. I don't think they have the quality overall. They have a bit of good
mm,
players there. I think they have Kenan Yildiz, who's a good, decent player. I think they have Thuram, who's a nice player. But overall, they just don't have that. Bro, yesterday I was watching them play against City. They just didn't look like a team. Like they were overwhelmed, bro. Like City was dominating it left, right, center. Like Juventus were not able to make two, three passes. And the problem is, okay, to give them a bit of benefit of doubt, like they did play like a bit younger, rested team yesterday. But it's just overall, I think Real Madrid, from what I've seen them this season, they've improved game by game under Xabi Alonso. And bro, that's the problem with Real Madrid. You know that. I think they take these kind of tournaments very seriously. And
mm,
I think for now, I just think they have the edge. Like I think they can, like if it comes down to it, I think they can easily go past like a Juventus. I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. But yeah, do you think Juventus can put up a fight? Like, do you think they have the quality there to maybe just put up the fight? Because you can't take it away. It's Juventus. They are a European team. You never know. Like, they can still get a result.
bro, they've slapped up teams this time. Like, of course, like like the opposition they faced isn't great, of course, and they got they got romped by these guys as well, like City. But like the goals have been coming. But the issue for me with Juventus is like there's just so much like instability. Like
Yeah, yeah,
um
that's true.
whether it comes to the kind of players or like the controversy about the coaches, like it was just this summer when like not the summer, like towards the end of the season when Igor Tudor replaced Thiago Motta. And then
Yeah,
right after this, like I think a couple of weeks ago, he got a contract extension for like what
yeah.
I'm not particularly
I
sure of.
think they were trying for. I
Champions
don't
League
know.
position.
No, I think they were trying for another manager. I don't remember who. I've actually forgotten. I think it was Shabby Alonso, if I'm not wrong. But if I have to go
I
back, I don't
mean,
remember.
yeah,
Oh no, they were
I
trying for Antonio Conte. Correct. They were trying to get Antonio Conte in. Conte recently
mm,
won the Scudetto, and they were really in like proper negotiations. I remember they were trying to get Conte back because they wanted that kind of, let's say, that winning mentality. And that's how you win in Italy. Like you need to have that
mm,
oldness, toughness kind of manager. Allegri had that. They sacked him and got someone like Mota. It didn't work out, and they were linked to him in the beginning of this transfer window at the end of the last season, basically. But Conte somehow decided to stay back in Napoli, and I think that's why they did stick with the current manager. And yeah, bro, I agree. They have huge instability, backroom
yeah,
stuff. Bro, their sporting director keeps getting
correct.
changed. They have, let's say, weak decision makers as their owners. I think it's the same guy who runs Ferrari, Scuderia Ferrari in F1. Like even F1, there they're having the same problem. Like they don't have the right leadership. They don't have the right vision to go forward. And I think same thing with Juventus because they were, like, if you have to be critical, they were buying Premier League players like Kelly, if I'm not wrong, who didn't
Yeah,
start
they got invited. Correct.
for Newcastle. He didn't even get a chance. Like he was in the Premier League. I mean, he was there in the squad. He never really got a chance to play against Newcastle, and they paid 20-25 odd million for him, and that's a huge sum of money for an Italian team. If I have to be honest,
Mm.
it's not like a Premier League team who can just spend money like that. For Italian teams, if you're paying 25 million on a backup centre back, that's huge money, and they've been having recruitment issues. But anyways, do you think they can beat Real Madrid, or do you think Real Madrid can win it?
No, but I think Real Madrid are gonna become one of those, like they're gonna go on their usual UCL knockout kind of, bro. Like they always then are very unserious when it comes to group stages, but then when the business end starts, that's when they also start getting serious. And I think for Real Madrid, it's a good opportunity for them to feature their new players also, because Trent, Hoyson, these guys have been getting game
Yeah,
time. So a
yeah,
good place for them to like get some game time. At the same time, like if they can perform well, it's a good competition to win as well. So I think, bro, I think Real Madrid are going to go full throttle, and it's going to be difficult for Juventus. So I would place Real Madrid heavy favorites for this game.
Fair. Even I think, bro, I just don't give a chance for Juventus. It's not.
Yeah,
For me, it's not more about Real Madrid. I think it's more about Juventus. I don't think they can
Juventus.
put up a fight. And
Yeah.
looking at how they played yesterday, if they continue the same trend, I don't see what brilliant or new thing they can do. But
Yeah.
again, just touching up with the other, games in the round of 16, just give your predictions. Who do you think will win with Palmeiras Botafogo? This is a all classic Brazilian league game. So like,
Ooh.
who do you think will win?
Bro, I think this game also Palmeiras are going through,
So you think Palmeiras
and
will beat
yeah,
Botafogo?
yeah, I think Palmeiras are going through this game, bro.
Bro, I have no clue how this game will go. Like, if I have to be honest, like, bro, with Brazilian teams, it's fun, bro. Just sit and watch. Like, just get your
It's
popcorns out. They're
Bro,
gonna
the
get.
quality of
There'll
football
be
is also
one.
there. The thuggery is also there. Like,
Yeah, bro, you'll get one, three red cards, 15
yeah,
yellow cards, two fights, one broken jaw. I don't think like, bro, you don't have to think about the football. You just have to think
yeah,
about who's going. We have to guess which player will get a red card this game. And I think
yeah.
that's how, bro, in the Club World Cup, this is literally a new stage. It's not like a league game, bro. I'm sure they're gonna have something. And more than the football for me, it's like, bro,
The
who cares who's
entertainment.
gonna win, bro? It's just gonna be entertainment. Bro, it's tomorrow 9:30 if anyone wants to watch the
Yeah.
game. And I'm telling you, like, if you just have the time, it's a weekend. I'm sure it's gonna be an entertaining game. Like, it'll be a fun watch. Bro, for me, I don't know who's going to go through there. One more small touch up, like who Benfica Chelsea. It's a bit of a decent game. Like, it's also Benfica, also a European team. I don't know if
Mm.
it's going to be easy for both teams. Who do you think will win that? Chelsea have struggled overall this
Bro,
entire.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Benfica are gonna win this game.
Damn, you think Chelsea don't have the firepower?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel Benfica, the way they played in their previous game against Bayern, also, if they can
Yeah,
nick an early goal, they're just gonna make life very difficult for
yeah,
Chelsea.
yeah. I guess I can see that, bro. I think for me, this is the real 50-50. Like, I really can't pick one player team out because, bro, the problem is style wise. If
Mm.
Chelsea are again having that problem of facing a low block, not able to unlock or like score a goal past them, I think then Benfica have the advantage.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that goes. But just for sakes, I just think Chelsea are a bit better overall. And for me, Benfica, even though they're a good team, from what I've watched them, they can also falter in defense. I think they have a mistake in them in the defensive line. But I was just edge Chelsea right now. But again, anything can happen. So PSG Inter
Mm.
Miami, I think it's PSG for you. And
Yeah.
Inter Fluminense, bro. That's the last we'll touch up. Who do you think? Do you think there's an other upset with Inter? Because if I'm not wrong, Inter were losing their last game and they did
Mm.
come to one up against Urawa Reds. So do you think they can do something?
Bro, that
Can
Urawa is also, they, I think, what, 70 odd minutes they were in the lead, like,
Yeah, I
and
think they were
then,
leading in their
yeah, but
last 10-15 minutes is when Inter scored.
yeah, and then even the game against River Plate, if I'm not wrong, these guys got two red cards, River Plate, and then like only after they got a red card did Inter Miami score. So I wouldn't be surprised if like
Yeah,
I
bro.
wouldn't be surprised at all if Inter were to lose. Like, it's been yeah, it's been very like not so convincing performances. So I really wouldn't put it past Inter to, like, have one of
Yeah,
those be one of those fellow
yeah,
victims of
yeah.
underdog performance.
Yeah, bro, even me, I think Fluminense is a good, decent team. More than the players, I'm really not that well aware of the player overall, but I know that their team, they as a whole, they have a good philosophy, footballing philosophy. But I don't know if they can beat. I think they did play the Club World Cup finals. I think they lost
Mm.
to City, if I'm not wrong, right? Last year. But yeah, coming here, like it'll be interesting because they did draw to like Dortmund, if I have to put it out, and they did draw to Sundowns, but they were pretty poor against Sundown. So that's the thing. I don't know much of Fluminense, but I think the philosophy as a club, the style of play as a club, can cause some problems for Inter Milan because they play similar football. Let's say to teams like City, a bit of PSG also the way they
Mm.
attack. and we know what happened. PSG versus Inter Milan in the finals, but okay, it's not the same quality. But yeah, I think this is also 50-50. But just for sakes, I would put into a bit higher. Because I just think if it comes down to it, European quality, I think they can just push front. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's it, bro. I think we've seen upsets. I hope to see more upsets, bro. For me, that's it. I really
that's
don't
true.
care who wins the tournament, who doesn't win the tournament. I just want to see some upsets. Like it will be fun if we see teams like Inter Miami, Flamengo win, Fluminense if they can beat. Like it'll be more fun in terms of that pure entertainment aspect.
Yeah,
We get that in the World Cup. We got that in the World Cup in 2022. I think it was more fun because we had teams like Morocco beating Portugal, beating Croatia, if I'm not wrong. So yeah,
mm.
same. No, Croatia. I think it was Brazil. I can't remember, but I do remember Morocco beating some of the big teams. And yeah,
Portugal boss,
yeah, Portugal, and I think they beat one more big team, but I'm not able to remember who they beat.
Spain,
I think it was France, but I no, no, not sorry. Yeah, it was Spain. It was Spain. Correct, correct. They
Spain,
beat
yeah,
Spain. Yeah, they beat Spain in the penalties.
penalties, yeah.
They beat Portugal. So, bro, some story like that, like some team goes on a run, will be fun. Like maybe if Flamengo does that, we'll have to see that. We will see what happened in the group stages. I mean, in the round of 16, and then come back. Semi-finals,
Mm.
finals. Hopefully, we get a so-called dark horse in this tournament and have a crazy playoff or a knockout stage run. Anyways, that's it for me today. And I think we'll catch you guys later in another stream. I think we'll start talking about the second test, upcoming India versus England also. But yeah, you guys can just put your comments down in the comment section. Who you think can win the Club World Cup? Do you think it has been a success? And yeah, if you guys want to see any changes in the Club World Cup also. So until then, thanks a lot. Like, share, and subscribe.
See you guys.
See ya, guys. Yeah.